and good afternoon. It is Friday, which means it is time for our Lunch and Learn. And today we're going to be talking about molecular oxygen. No, molecular hydrogen. So why are we doing this? Well, because there's just a lot of new studies, new research that shows that if we have enough hydrogen in our bodies, that we are able to live healthier, live longer, have better cognitive recall and all that kind of stuff, which is something that I'm really into right now, because in our family we're dealing with some cognitive decline and it's not pretty. And if there's things that we can do before it happens to us, then maybe we can stave that off. It's my belief that we can. And so this is one reason why I bring you all this information, so that you can, if you're interested in it, you can like it, share it, comment on it, whatever. I do appreciate those people that are always sharing my sneak peeks and sharing my videos. I do appreciate you. I see you and I thank you, because we really do this as a public service because we want people to live healthy. So in recent years, molecular hydrogen has become popular among researchers for its potential therapeutic effects. Early studies suggest that hydrogen taken in different forms, such as inhaling hydrogen gas, drinking hydrogen-rich water, taking hydrogen baths, has several different health benefits. Now, we're going to talk particularly about molecular hydrogen, which is almost always in a gas state, but they take a tablet and they dissolve it in water, and you have to drink that water fairly quickly, otherwise the gas dissipates into our atmosphere. Now, the air that we breathe has oxygen and hydrogen, different things in there, right? We know that. Hydrogen is the most plentiful atom in the world, and I think it's the tiniest and the lightest atom. So that makes it good for our purposes, because that means it's very tiny and it can go where some other things can't go. And so that's really exciting. So the potential benefits from hydrogen therapy comes from its antioxidant properties, anti-inflammatory effects, and protection against various diseases. So, as I said, hydrogen is a very light and small element. It's the most abundant element that we have in our earth, and it can be had in different forms as atomic hydrogen. Hydrogen ions are both positive and negative. Hydrogen in compounds, water, glucose, etc., and then diatomic gas known as molecular hydrogen. Now, extensive research has been demonstrated that this last forms have the best health benefit. So, studies have shown that hydrogen can exert a positive effect against neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. These effects are due likely to hydrogen's ability to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, which have known associations with neurodegenerative disorders. Tyler W. LeBaron, who is the founder and executive director of the Molecular Hydrogen Institute, which is a science-based nonprofit, has published extensively on the benefits of molecular hydrogen and works to promote it through scientific research and public awareness. Now, he says, and this is a quote, "Every disease has an underlying mechanism of inflammation and oxidative stress. Hydrogen helps to attenuate and regulate both the inflammatory response and the oxidative balance, or homeostasis." So let me just kind of break that down for you. When our body works the way our body is supposed to work, everything is balanced. There's no sickness, there's no disease, and the body is said to be in homeostasis. That just means I am balanced as a human being. When we have sickness and disease, all right, usually you don't wake up today and I feel great, and then tomorrow I'm just, on my deathbed. That's not usually how sickness and disease works. Usually sickness and disease, you're fine today, tomorrow you may not feel good, the next day you may feel a little bit worse. Not bad enough to go to the doctor, but you're not feeling 100%. As the days, weeks, months, years go by, you just start getting more and more out of balance until sickness and disease kind of pops up, and that looks like autoimmune disease, that looks like diabetes, that looks like obesity, that looks like cancer, it looks like all those things. So when we are in homeostasis, then everything is working the way it's supposed to, hopefully. However, back to the disease model, if you've digressed and then you've developed these diseases, then your body still is trying to maintain, your body is still trying to be in balance, even though it knows it has a disease. Because you haven't dealt with it, it's been going on a long time, the body goes, this must be my natural state, so I'll just make everything stay balanced the way we are. Now, what happens with that is when you finally get fed up and you come and see me or someone like me, and we put you on a healing protocol, what that will do, if you do it the way I do it with heat shock proteins, right? Homeopathic medicines. When we do that, we kind of set off a cellular bomb. I mean, that's kind of extravagant to say it that way, but bear with me. We put things into the body. The body goes, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. You've messed up homeostasis. Well, that's what you have to do in order to get the body to respond the way the body is supposed to respond, because the body wants to stay in homeostasis. Even if it's really, really sick, it wants to stay there. So you've got to shake it up. How do you do that? You quit drinking, you quit smoking, you quit eating processed foods, you start exercising. All those things will shake up homeostasis. And you've heard people who've gone to the health food store, they've gotten whatever they've gotten, and they come home and they take it for a couple of weeks and they say, I feel worse now than I did before I even started. So obviously health foods are not the answer. Well, that's only part of the story. What you've done is you've messed up that homeostasis, and the body is trying to find where is balance again. And that can take 60, 90, possibly 6 months in order to reestablish, depending on what you're going through. So the hydrogen molecules that we're talking about today, they help facilitate that balance between antioxidants and oxidative stress so that you stay in homeostasis. So I hope that was a little bit clear. Maybe. I hope it was. The study of newborns, brand new babies, demonstrate hydrogen's positive effect on the brain. So in a human study with newborns involving hydrogen water, they used a group of 40 newborn children with hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy, HIE, which is a brain injury caused when the brain does not receive enough oxygen before or shortly after birth, according to Nationwide's Children. This is a magazine. The study split the babies into two groups, giving one hydrogen water orally and the other a standard medication for HIE. The researchers found that the babies who drank hydrogen water had lower serum levels of biomarkers of HIE than the control group. It had a remission of symptoms, and they performed better on developmental testings. Other studies also demonstrate the beneficial effects of molecular hydrogen on the brain. Randomized study, placebo-controlled studied trials involving Japanese patients with Parkinson's disease who are taking levodopa medication demonstrated that drinking 1,000 milliliters of hydrogen water daily for 48 weeks significantly improved their symptoms and quality of life compared with the placebo group. The study also stated that drinking hydrogen water was safe and well tolerated. So it took them drinking this amount of water. I'm not great at conversions on metric to imperial, so get your Google calculator out and do that. 1,000 milliliters of water a day for 48 weeks. That's almost a whole year. They found significant improvement in the brains of the Parkinson's patients. And another study in 2023 showed that hydrogen gas can benefit patients with Alzheimer's disease. So according to the study, hydrogen gas, that's H2, subscript 2, was a therapeutic medical gas with multiple functions as an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, anti-cell death, and it stimulated energy metabolism. An open label pilot study evaluated the effects of the therapeutic inhalation of hydrogen gas on patients with Alzheimer's disease. 8 patients with Alzheimer's were involved in the research, and they inhaled 3% hydrogen gas for 1 hour, 2 times a day for 6 months. All right. They were then followed for an additional year while not using the gas. The researchers found a significant improvement in 2 cognitive assessments performed both before and after treatment. And those improvements lasted for a full year. So this is not something that you have to do 24/7, although with what I'm reading, why would you not want to do that? I mean, obviously going to a hospital, getting hydrogen gas and all that kind of stuff is not really how we want to start. We want to start with something that's really, really easy. I'm going to show you how to do that, and then we can have those benefits. So the benefits lasted for over a year after they had completed their treatments. The study concluded that hydrogen treatment relieves temporary symptoms and has disease modifying effects. Of course, I can't say cure because that's only medical doctors can say that, right? And these are researchers, so this is just the way that works. In 2007, Japanese scientist, I'm going to butcher this name, so I apologize in advance, Shigeru Ota and his team published a hallmark study in Nature's Medicine, the findings of which would be the catalyst for hydrogen research in the coming years. The study found that molecular hydrogen could act as a selective antioxidant, neutralizing harmful reactive oxygen species without inadvertently affecting the beneficial ones. This means that hydrogen can protect the cells from damage and reduce inflammation without impairing the beneficial reactive oxygen species, such as hydrogen peroxide, which is needed to maintain cellular function and protect us from infection. So this is really important. So you might think that hydrogen peroxide could help you get more hydrogen in your system. Well, that's really not how we want to do that, all right? So your body does make hydrogen peroxide. You can get hydrogen peroxide. You can get medical grade, food grade hydrogen peroxide. And a few years back when we had this horrible thing going around the country that kind of affected everybody, we would suggest that maybe adding a couple of drops of food grade hydrogen peroxide could maybe do some good. And what we did find is that the oxygen levels increased significantly. We're not talking about hydrogen. We're talking about oxygen. Oxygen levels increased significantly, which allowed for the discharge from the hospital. So hydrogen peroxide does have its uses under medical supervision, but that's not what we're talking about right here, right now. Dr. Ota's team, their findings suggested that hydrogen could combat diseases linked to inflammation and oxidative stress, such as cardiovascular disease, neurodegenerative diseases, chronic inflammatory conditions, rheumatoid arthritis, diabetes, and cancer. So if you haven't picked up on it, all right, every single sickness and disease is related to inflammation, all right, and lack of antioxidants. So when we can get something that improves the inflammation, cuts down on the inflammation, and improves the antioxidants, then we're able to do what we need to do to combat these diseases. So that's what we want to do. So every single disease, inflammation, and oxidative stress. This is why we really recommend that you use vitamins, and I've shown you this before, vitamins that have so much antioxidants in them from fruits and vegetables, which is where God gave us the antioxidants, right? Most of us don't get enough from our diet, and even if we're very, very conscientious with our diet, the fruits and vegetables are not nutrient dense enough to be all that we need. We all need to be supplementing appropriately with vitamins that are guaranteed to be absorbed, so we get the actual nutrition out of it, so we change what's going on in our bodies. So Mr. Ota is a professor of the Department of Biochemistry and Cell Biology at the Institute of Development and Aging Sciences, Graduate School of Medicine, Nippon Medical School in Tokyo. So he's pretty well educated, and this is what he is studying. He is one of the world's leaders in research into molecular hydrogen. He says, this is another quote, hydrogen is really outstanding. And hydrogen is different from conventional or traditional drugs and food because hydrogen does not show any adverse effects, zero toxic effects. Also, hydrogen shows beneficial results in patients with serious diseases and also in healthy people. In their study in 2007, his team stated that molecular hydrogen is a small molecule that diffuses easily, travels quickly across the cell membranes and into tissues. Subsequent studies found that hydrogen had a wide range of beneficial biological effects. So in a 2022 study, now this follows the 2007 study. In a 2022 study investigating molecular hydrogen as a therapeutic agent for pulmonary disease. So this is your lungs, so this is COPD, asthma, all that kind of stuff. Maybe not those specific diseases, but lung diseases, right? They stated that molecular hydrogen exerts biological effects on nearly all organs. It is antioxidative, anti-inflammatory, anti-aging, speaking my language, okay, and contributes to the regulation of autophagy and cell death. According to the National Cancer Institute, autophagy is a cell's natural recycling process. It breaks down and destroys old, damaged, or unneeded components and then recycles them for use in essential cell functions, especially in times of stress or adversity. Now, I want to give you a little bit of a different understanding about that. Autophagy, auto means self, phagy, it comes from macrophage. You have macrophages in your lymphatic system. Your macrophage is a specific type of white blood cell that gobbles up anything that's in the bloodstream that's not supposed to be there. So when your lymphatic system does what it does, it's got macrophages and it's got phagocytes, all right, same kind of root words, that go in and gobble up what's not supposed to be there. Think of Pac-Man, all right? It's a little bit crude, but think of Pac-Man. Now, autophagy is when you're not relying on your immune system per se, but you are actually facilitating that through fasting. So when we eat nonstop, which as Americans, that's what we do, all right? And especially if we're Pentecostal Christian Americans, that's the only thing that's not sinful. I know that's a joke, but not really. So we are focusing all of our energy on dissolving, digesting, assimilating the food. So we never have time for the cells to perform autophagy. We just don't. So this scientist says that when we increase our molecular hydrogen, it increases the benefit of autophagy. And so this is really, really important because as the National Cancer Association says, it breaks down the dead cells, it breaks down the disease cells, and it recycles and uses whatever is available. So when we don't have that, we don't facilitate that autophagy, then we have problems. This is why intermittent fasting is so good, because you're not eating. Your body goes, what do I do with all this energy? Oh, I know. I'll do some housekeeping chores. And that's when it does the autophagy. So this is important because if we have cancer, and it's pretty much understood by all healthcare professionals that we all have circulating cancer cells, right? The difference between somebody who is not diagnosed with cancer and someone who is diagnosed with cancer is the state of their immune system. So what do we do as holistic people? We focus on the immune system, strengthen the immune system, so when anything comes our way that's not healthy and it messes up our homeostasis, the immune system springs into action. It does what it needs to do. It devours the pathogen or whatever it is, and so we live another day and we stay in homeostasis. Hydrogen facilitates that process. Now, in an article on the Molecular Hydrogen Institute website, you can look that up. It states that even though hydrogen therapy is a new field of study, was only about 3,000 articles and 150 human studies, publications, and researchers suggest that hydrogen has therapeutic potential in over 170 different human and animal disease models, and essentially every organ in the body can benefit from hydrogen. So this is important. We can ingest hydrogen in many different ways. The most common are inhaling hydrogen gas via a mask, or drinking hydrogen water, or soaking in a hydrogen bath. All of these methods use hydrogen gas. Mr. LeBaron said there are many misconceptions and misunderstandings about molecular hydrogen, how it is consumed, and how it functions inside the body. So he gives us some clarification here. You can inhale the gas, or you can dissolve it into water and drink it. So the water is simply a carrier for the dissolved hydrogen gas, just like carbonated water. But once you make it, it's just the gas, and it doesn't bind to the water molecules. It doesn't change the water structure. It just is dissolved in the water. Now, I want to kind of address this because we used to have access to a product. It was a little bitty blue pill. No, not that blue pill. It was a different blue pill. And you would drop it in a bottle of water, and it would kind of fizz, and it would put hydrogen in the water, and you could drink it, and you should drink it, really fast, like within 20 minutes, because if you don't, then that hydrogen, it's a gas. It escapes out of the water, and you're not getting the benefit to it, all right? So what happened to that little blue pill is somebody, not me, it wasn't me, but somebody who owned the patent to that formula forgot to renew the patent, and so they were unable to continue making that, so we lost that. Now, it was really good for different things that we used it for back in the day, and we don't have access to it from that supplier anymore. Now, I did a quick Google search yesterday. There are plenty of suppliers out there that do have molecular hydrogen. Not any of them I'm familiar with. They're not anybody I trust, so I'm just going to give you that. Also, and you might be thinking, well, we can do alkaline water. And so I want to just address that for a minute because, yes, hydrogen water can also be alkaline water. Alkaline water is not necessarily hydrogen water, okay? So we have a machine here in the clinic, and it's called the Kangen machine. And what it does specifically is it is supposed to turn water into an alkaline state so that it alkalinizes the body and it gets you back into homeostasis. Now, there's a lot of problems with that if you don't do it with a lot of understanding and with a lot of knowledge. Now, a healthy body tends to be a little more alkaline than acidic. So I showed you well, I'm going to show you this. This isn't exactly the easiest thing in the world, but I'm going to show you this. This is a little box of pH strips. And you can see here on the lowest, it's 4.5, and it goes all the way up to 6.5. 6.5 is actually where you want to be on your urine and your saliva. Now, on the back side, they have from 6.75 here all the way to 9. You don't want to be 9. If you're 9, you're like the Dead Sea. You don't want to be 9. So if you are over here in the 4.5, you definitely need alkaline water, all right? The Kangen machine does use hydrogen atoms to make the water alkaline. Would that be something that would be beneficial? Yes, that would be something that might be beneficial. However, if you do that, you want to continually monitor your pH, because if your pH gets too high, and you got to remember 7 is neutral, above 7 is high, below 7 is low, below 7 is acidic, above 7 is alkaline, 7 is neutral. You want to be really close to 7, but not 7. And I'll tell you why. You won't absorb your minerals if you're not slightly acidic. We have a lot of people come in And on their blood work, it shows that they are a 5 or a 5.5 or a below 5, which is extremely, extremely acidic. And when you are acidic, that is what sets you up as a cancer environment. So can Kangen water, which is alkaline water, can that help get more hydrogen into your system? The answer is yes. Do you want to drink that 24/7? The answer is no. You can go out to the grocery store, you can buy alkaline water. Do you want to do that 24/7? The answer is no. If you have your pH too high, 7 or above, you're not going to be able to absorb your minerals. And if you can't absorb your minerals, you cannot heal. So you've got to use just a lot of wisdom with that, all right? So the benefits of drinking hydrogen water is simply this: because the hydrogen molecule is so tiny, it can enter cells and penetrate the blood-brain barrier. After one drinks it, the hydrogen spreads throughout the body in about 10 minutes, and it stays in the body for 1 to 2 hours before being exhaled through the lungs. Its positive effects last the entire day. So you don't need to drink it 24/7. You just need to drink it once in the day. So one of the most impressive aspects of molecular therapy is its safety. Mr. Ota said that based on thousands of studies that he's conducted, molecular hydrogen is very safe. As far as we know from all the publications that we've studied, there are 0 reports of any side effects, any adverse effects, or any toxic effects. Mr. LeBaron highlighted the study of molecular hydrogen is still in its early stages, and while numerous small studies have shown promising results, larger studies are needed to answer key questions about its true clinical efficacy, the best way to administer it, the ideal dose and frequency. But despite these uncertainties, he says he feels comfortable discussing it because of its potential benefits and high safety. Hydrogen may provide many benefits, and I think everybody should have access to it because it has 0 known negative side effects. It's something very natural for the body, and it's what makes me feel comfortable talking about it publicly because we already know that it is safe. It is far different from a pharmaceutical or a new drug. So Mr. Ota has a clear vision for the future. He wants to focus his hydrogen research on patients with Alzheimer's disease because he says that he sees great, great promise in reversing that disease or halting that disease, and that is his dream. So how are you going to get more hydrogen into your system? Well, like I say, there's plenty of people out there that do have molecular hydrogen that you do dissolve in water. I am on a quest to find a vendor that I trust. We used to have one, but I told you that story. Find one that we trust so that we can get that here for you. As we get older, if it crosses the blood-brain barrier, if it has a positive effect on Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's and all that kind of stuff, why would we not do it preventative? It's not expensive. I remember the little bottle. It was a little bottle that we used to have as a 30-day supply. And I mean, honestly, it wasn't expensive at all. So hydrogen is widely throughout the atmosphere. And so it's not something, like rare earth minerals or something like that that's going to be costing the fortune. So stay tuned. When I find a reputable supplier, I will let you know. This is something that we are going to incorporate into our family's healthcare routine because it is just showing so much promise in cognitive ability and maintaining homeostasis in the brain. We want to have homeostasis elsewhere, and we're pretty good about doing that. But sometimes crossing the blood-brain barrier can be a little bit of a challenge, and thank God that it is, right? We don't want to necessarily cross that for no reason. So thank you for joining me. It is the weekend. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking. Thank you for doing all the things that tells Facebook that, oh, yes, this was valuable. We need to keep this out there. So I appreciate that. I will talk to you next week. If you have any questions, pop them in the box, and we will get the answer to you as quickly as we can. Thank you again so much for joining us.